We're going to start the class here. Today, this will be a demo class. Okay. So I'm also recording this class, and once the class is done, I'll let you know. I'll share the video also. Not a problem. Yeah. Just focus on the class. What we're trying to deal with now. Yeah. Okay. Well. So as part of this demo today, what we're trying to do is, what we're trying to do is, we just try to understand what is SAP HANA, and then try to understand what are the different topics what we'll be covering in this course. And if you have any doubts, I will try to clarify at the end of it. Okay, is it fine? Okay. No. Okay. Now we're trying to understand what is SAP HANA, and then we'll try to see the different course contents what we'll be covering as part of this course. Please do mute yourself, everyone, please. Yeah, and then if there's any question, we'll have a QA session. If you have any questions, I can answer it. Okay. Okay. Now, I hope you all are able to see the deck, right? What I'm running through here. When it comes to SAP HANA, it's an in-memory data platform. Was there are some people who are not. Yeah. When it comes to SAP HANA, it's an in-memory data platform. When I say in-memory data platform, it basically stores and process your data in memory, in main memory, which is your RAMs. That's what SAP HANA is. Now, when it comes to SAP HANA, we have it available in 3 editions here. So when you basically buy HANA from SAP, basically as of today, we have 3 editions, but it keeps changing regularly. But as of now, as of 2018 Feb, we have 3 editions here. One is standard edition, one is enterprise edition, and one is express edition. Now we'll see what is standard and what is enterprise. Now, when it comes to express edition, it's actually a VM. It's actually a VM application which has got the HANA database and some add-on applications in it, which is delivered by SAP for all our development community, where we can install in our own system and then do developments and then contribute to SAP actually. So we just need a 32 GB system with 32 GB RAM max, and we can deploy Express Edition at home, and then you can basically have your own HANA system also. So it's a smaller version of the HANA database what they have given, and you can deploy it for your practice, and you can develop your applications and basically go on with the Express Edition here. Smaller version of it, but that is not for the real-time production environment. That is only for you to practice and then go ahead actually. Okay. Now let's see about standard and enterprise are the major editions what SAP is selling at actually. Okay. Now, what does standard edition has got comes with, and what does enterprise edition comes with? Now, if you look at this slide here, the standard edition comes along with, is standard edition is part of enterprise edition. So it can you understand as standard edition is actually a subset of enterprise edition here. Okay. Now, if you look at the SAP HANA standard edition, you'll have all these features here. You'll have the database services, you'll have integration services, you'll have application services, you'll have the flexibility of dynamic tiering, accelerator for ASC, enterprise EAD, enterprise architecture designer, data warehousing foundation, series data, operational process intelligence. You'll have all these features available as part of standard edition. And when it comes to enterprise edition, you'll have all these features as part of standard edition. Plus, you'll have the support for spatial and graphical data. geospatial and graphical data, and then you'll have data privacy, you'll have text analytics, search and text analytics and text mining, and you'll also have predict analytics library and with R integration. You'll also have EIM, enterprise information management. You'll also have streaming analytics and then real-time replication. So this is what enterprise edition is. So when you go to SAP, you can basically buy either standard edition or enterprise edition depending on your requirement. And there's also a special licensing on SAP Active and Active Read Enabled. I'll explain what it is. Okay. So this is what the HANA with all these following features. Okay. If we can understand about all this, that's what makes us understand about what SAP HANA is. Okay. Now I'm getting into each of these service. Now when it comes to database services, see, when it comes to SAP HANA, it's like just like in any other database. Let's say you have a database like Oracle or SQL Server, Greenplum, or PostgreSQL. You have lots of databases. Similar to any other RDBMS, similar to any other relational database management system, SAP HANA is also a database. At the core, at the base, if you look at HANA at the basic or at the core, it's a relational database management system. It's normal databases where any database should satisfy this ACID complaint. It should be ACID complaint, which is says ACID indicates atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. When I say atomicity, it's like whether all or nothing transactions. When I say all or nothing, say for example, you are dealing with a database and you're dealing with some transactions where you need to perform a transaction, like say you need to withdraw amount from account 1 and deposit into account 2. Let's say once you withdraw amount from account 1 and if the transaction has been detached, then you lose the money out. So either the transaction should be completely performed or either rolled back completely. That's what it says, atomicity. And we should have consistency over every transaction state. And isolation is it should be possible that each transaction should be handled independently. For example, I have a table and there are multiple users who are trying to insert data into those tables. So in that case, what we can do is like each transaction should be handled independently. And when I say durability, like once we have the data stored in the database, it should be permanently stored or it should be committed forever until I delete the data. So when you say database, it must satisfy all these 4 properties of ACID, yeah, which says atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Okay. Now, when it comes to this, then apart from this database, it is an in-memory columnar database and stores data to compressed formats. Now, if you look at any database, you actually store data in form of a structure called table. Now, if you look at this is a table where you see rows and columns. Say, now I have 3 columns here: country, product, and sales. And when you look at this row 1, it says India, chocolate, and 1000. And row 2 is India, ice cream, and 2000. And row 3 is Germany, chocolate, and 4000. And row 4 is US noodle, 500. We refer each record as one row. And we have 3 columns here: country, product, and sales. Normally, in most of the other databases, they store, see, you get to see this as a table like this in a structured format with grid, rows, and columns. But when it comes to the database internal mechanism of storing the data, it's different. It does not store like a table. So when you say row store, when you say the database stores in a row format, it stores like this. Each row or record is stored in one continuous memory location. Like India, chocolates 1000 is stored at one memory location. India, ice cream 2000 is stored in one memory location. And then like each row is stored in continuous memory locations like this. But when we say as column store table, it stores each column as a separate in one continuous memory location. Say it picks up all the values of the country, stores in one memory location. Then all the values of the column product are stored in one memory location. And then all the values of the column sales are stored in one memory location. And then it does have indexing, which will basically link up saying which value of column country is linked to which value of product, and which value of product is linked to which value of sales, and then they have the linking of those values. So so that's how it stores in that in form of a column. So you pretty much understood what is. So when it see ultimately whether it is row store or column store for an user, you get to see as a normal table with rows and columns. But as part of the internal mechanism, how it stores the data is different when it comes to row store or column store. In case of row store, each row is stored in one continuous memory location. In case of a column store, all the values of a particular column are stored in one memory location. Say all the values of the country are stored in one memory location. All the values of the product are stored in one memory location, and all the values of sales are stored in one memory location. So when it stores in this format, so when it comes to analytics, where you try to read certain columns of a table, let's say I would like to analyze my country based on the sales. So you try to read two columns of it. So you try to read the entire column. So for analytics, column store would be more faster. When the table is stored in form of columns, it's more faster because you try to read the entire column, which is stored at a continuous memory location. That is what the column store is. And one more thing is when it comes to compression, say, for example, imagine a table with 100 million rows, okay? And let's say I have a column in the table which says region. And let's say the region could be south, north, or east, or west. So I have 100 million records in a table, okay? And out of that, I have a column which is actually got four values, like say north, east, west, and south, okay? Then, so what happens is when you store this particular column region, it has to store 100 million values, right? So it does not store 100 million values. It just stores only the distinct values of that column. So when I said distinct values, it just takes south, north, east, and west, stores only four values, and we'll have a positioning. We'll have something called positioning indexing, which tells you this north is pointing to what all rows, and south is pointing to what all rows, and then east is pointing to what rows, and then west is pointing to what rows. So in that way, you also get the compression also. So when you try to store data in form of a columnar database or columnar table, you also get the flexibility of compression. That's the benefit of it. So you'll have benefit of compressing the data or storing the data with less space, consuming less memory. And one more thing is when you store data in form of a columnar, it also helps you to retrieve the data faster when it comes to analytics. But other way, you also have a limitation saying, say, when you try to read the complete row, let's say I would like to say select star from table where my country is Germany. So then you try to read the complete row. In that case, the columnar structure would be slow because it has to go about searching the row indexing about all the columns and then get your record, right? So when you try to read all the columns of the table, it will be slower. But when you try to read certain columns of the table explicitly, which is the best scenario for analytics, where you try to read certain columns, it is much suitable or much faster when it is stored in columnar. So it is in memory, stores data in main memory, and it stores a table in form of a columnar database where each column is stored in all the column values are stored in one continuous memory locations. And because of this, since it stores only the distinct values of the column and does not store repetitive values, you get the benefit of compression also, a compressed format, or storing the table in a very less space. Okay. Next, as part of this HANA database services, when it comes to HANA database, it also has a flexibility of parallel processing. So, so when you say parallel processing, normally when you buy a local system or a system for home, you try to buy say I would like to buy dual core or quad core, right? So when it's a dual core or quad core, when it's a dual core, it's like a processor with two cores in it. When it's a quad core, it's a processor with four cores in it. So core is actually that part of a CPU which actually performs your transaction or performs your activity or performs your work. So if you look at when you look at this hardware, it is like we have got an advancement in the hardware development where you could see one CPU could go up to 12 cores plus. And I can have a motherboard where I can place up to 8 CPUs or more. Now it is actually improved furthermore. So imagine a hardware system with a motherboard which can have 8 CPUs, and each of the CPU holding up to 12 cores. Then you end up having a system with 48 cores. So 8 CPUs and each CPU holding 12 cores. You end up having 48 cores. What is it? 48 or it's more? 96 cores. Okay, when you say 96 or more than that cores, so means what? I have 96 activities can be performed at a particular instance. So having so many cores or advancement in the hardware, SAP HANA will leverage this parallel processing in that. So there is a built-in logic or built-in code within HANA which will leverage this parallel processing. Say for example, I have a table with column A, column B, and column C, and then let's say I would like to select column A, column B, column C from this table. Then instead of single core performing this activity, I can have a core 1 which is reading the column A. I can have core 2 which is reading column B, and I can have and if I feel that column C is further more heavy column, it can be further fragmented into multiple parts, and one part can be processed by core 3 and the other part can be processed by core 4. So if you look at the scenario what is depicted here, there are 4 cores are leveraged to read these 3 columns, column A and column B and column C, which is nothing but parallel processing. You don't have to do anything in your code. It is a built-in mechanism of the HANA database which takes care about this parallel processing and gives you the results. And okay, next, from as part of database services, SAP HANA database also gives you the flexibility of multi-tenant or multi-tenancy. When you say multi-tenant, what we understand is here, say you take a system, you take an computer or a system, you install the OS, and then you install HANA system in it. Once HANA system is installed, what we can do is we can basically create multiple tenants in it. When you say multiple tenants, you can understand that as a multiple databases within HANA data. Say for example, if you look at this uh, picture here, you have a OS and I have HANA system installed. So when you install HANA system, by default you get the system database. So what you do is you create multiple tenant database, which is actually like a child for system DB. Let's say I've created a tenant database DBX and I've created tenant DBY. So when you look at this X and Y, X is a separate database and Y is a separate database. So what you can do, whatever the data, when let's say when you log into HANA system, you log in with specific tenant database, say X or Y. When you log into X, you'll have a different set of schemas, tables, or data, everything. And when I log into Y, I'll have different schemas, database, tables, and data, everything separately. So within one HANA instance or within one HANA server installed, by default you'll get the system DB. So what you can do is we can also create multiple child databases, like say tenant database X and database Y, and you can start working on database X and Y independently first. So I can use X for one application, I can use Y for one application. So that's how we are also flexible to multi tenant databases. Okay. So it is similar to, like say, in SAP ECC or SAP, if you worked on any of the SAP, you have client concept. Say in ECC, I can have multiple active clients. I can log into 100, 200, 300, 400. See, when I log into 100, I get to see different data. When I log into 200, I get to see different data. But the structures are same, but the data is different. So something similar to that. In one HANA system, I can have multiple tenant databases. Each tenant database is treated as a separate HANA DB. In the DB, what are let's say I have tenant DBX. I log into the tenant database X. I create some schemas. I create some tables. I create some views. I create some procedures, which is independent to the tenant. Then when I log into tenant database Y, I don't get to see the schemas or tables or views. So that's a separate new database altogether. So like this, within a single HANA instance, I can have multiple tenant databases which is independent from each other. So HANA gives you that flexibility. So next is model data. So see see now when you say database, you basically start storing data in the form of the tables, right? But when you got to do reporting on HANA, or when you want to do reporting, or when you want to analyze your data, you would like to model the data, means like slice and dice the data. For example, I might have, let's say, 10 tables, and I would like to analyze the information on this particular database of 10 tables, where I might need, let's say, there might be a table with 10 columns, but I only need 5 columns from this. So I would like to take only 5 columns. And the table might have a lot of records. I would like to filter down some records and only do that, require the filter data for analysis. So when you want to slice and dice your database or the tables and then get the required view what you want, so that's where we go with the modeling of data. That's where you might have heard about attribute view, analytical view, or calculation view. But latestly, you would be majorly focusing only on calculation, because SAP is going towards where they're trying to get on to only with calculation views. Because whatever you can do with attribute view, analytical view can be achieved with calculation view. So SAP is going towards where they are trying to push towards everything only on calculation views, which we'll see later. But so HANA will have that flexibility of modeling. So instead of, so what, because of this flexibility, so if there are some applications, let's say I have HANA database setup, I have a lot of schemas and tables been built into it, and which has got some data in it. Now, when you want to expose this information of HANA to other application, let's say in by SAP, I would like to do reporting on SAP BO on top of HANA. Let's have a HANA database with a lot of tables and data in it. I would like to do reporting. So one option is you can expose the tables directly to BO, and then they can do reporting on it. Or instead of exposing the table, what you can do is you can basically slice and dice and model these tables and create some modeling views, HANA, which we call it as HANA artifacts, like calculation views or analytical views, and expose these views for business objects layer or reporting layer, and then we can do reporting on top of it. It's not only about reporting. Let's say I have HANA database and I would like to use Python language and develop some application on top of it. Or I would like to use .NET and develop some application on top of it. So what they do is from .NET or Python, they will use some JDBC driver and then they connect to the database and then try to access the tables. So if they can access the tables and join in their own programming language, that is one option. In that case, they are putting pressure on the programming language first. So what other case is, instead of exposing the tables directly to them, we can build a HANA artifacts, which is a calculation views, which can slice and dice the tables, and then expose these views for those programming language like Python or .NET or Java or Node.js or JavaScript or whatever it is, and then put the pressure on HANA database, not on the application server or not on the programming languages. That's where HANA gives you the flexibility of modeling data also. Then next we have high availability and disaster recovery. Then see, the point here is, we said HANA is an in-memory data platform, right? Where what it does is it basically stores data in main memory and processes it. So when you say main memory, it is very risky because it is volatile. When I say volatile, when there is a power cut or when the system is down, you tend to lose all the data stored in the main memory bus. That's where it is very important to have the disaster recovery and high availability for HANA database. So HANA data, like any other database, HANA also gives you the flexibility of taking a backup of the database, and we can also do recovery from the backup, and we can also have a storage and system replication. When I say storage and system replication, let's say this is, see, one is you take you let's say you have another database setup and everything is been working out. Then what you do, you keep taking regular interval backups, or we call it as incremental backups also. We can take full backup or incremental backups also. When it's incremental backup, let's say on Monday I take the full backup. As per Tuesday, I only take an incremental backup, which means which with only the data from Monday to Tuesday only. Then on Wednesday, when I take another incremental backup, I only get the data what is from Tuesday to Wednesday. Like this, every day I can go with incremental backup, or I can go with the full backup of the database. And then whenever the system is down, I can restore the system back by using this backup files again. That is one option. That is one option. And one more thing is, there is a concept called mirror systems, system replication. What does it mean is, let's say I have another database A, okay, which is up and live and running, and where users are using A. And what we do is we also create one more system replication, say B. Any transactions or any data what I'm putting into A, it will be recording the log into B also. So So B is like a mirror system for A. Whenever system A goes down, B will be immediately active, and then it will be available for the users. That is um, that is one which we call the system replication. So first option of disaster recovery is you can take general backups and then restore whenever you want if there is a problem. And next option is you can have a mirror system, replicated system available for a, let's say I have another database here. For I have got another data, another instance, HANA instance, let's say B. So any transactions I do in A will be recording the logs in the another instance in B. So whenever a HANA instance A goes down, B will be available because it's a mirror system with all the latest data available, and that can be available for the users. That is called as storage and system replication here. Okay. And next, what I want to see, there's something called read intensive workloads, which is separate licensing. Now, one second. I was telling about something here. Look at this. SAP HANA active and active read enabled, right? So how this happens is, sorry. How this happens? Let me just pull it out. So let's say I have HANA instance. I have HANA instance, HANA server A, and then what I'll do, I have another HANA server B. So I'll call this as the replicated system or system replica system replica, or I can call it as mirror system. So whenever I post any transaction, A will be my main production server. So whenever I do any transactions in A, HANA instance A, HANA server A, it will be recording those logs in B also automatically. All the logs will be recorded in B also. So whenever this HANA system A is down, this HANA server B can be available for the users for working use. So that's what I mean say high availability. Immediately when A is down, B can be available for the user. That is what we call it high availability. Now if you look at this, there is special licensing on read intensive workloads here. So what this does is when you have a mirror system here, by taking a special licensing from SAP, what we can do is, let's say you're writing a select statement on HANA A, which is very heavy, a very complex select statement, or which is very complex to read. What we can do is, instead of using only HANA server A, why don't we leverage the capabilities of HANA server B, which is already available? So for all the read intensive workloads, we can basically share it with the HANA B, which is actually mirror system or the replication system. So when I do a select statement on A, which is very intensive, and you would like to share this workload with the mirror system and distribute it on mirror system HANA B, then you got to go with special licensing, which is what this is. I was telling you about HANA active or active read enabled. When you get the special licensing of active read enabled, we can leverage this the replication system or mirror system also when to perform some heavy workload read intensive operations. So we have this kind of flexibility also in HANA database. Next, like monitoring of database and troubleshooting. Like say, I think this is pretty much common in any database. Similar to most of the databases, this also gives you certain cockpit where you can basically consistently monitor the databases and the resources of the database. And if there is some critical issues, you can obviously have the tracing flexibilities and fix the issues. Okay? So HANA also gives you the flexibility. Next, HANA is also scalable. So when I say scalable, there is no limitation that you can install HANA with only 256 GB RAM or 1 terabyte RAM or 2 terabyte RAM, or there's no limitation that you can install HANA only on 1 node or 2 nodes or 3 nodes. Once you take the SAP HANA licensing, you have the eligibility of distributing it completely to any scale. Means, say, what I can do, instead of installing on one HANA server, I can install multiple HANA instances. Let's say I take say 10 systems, install HANA in all these 10 systems and configure them in a distributed environment. I can do that. So HANA database is scalable to any level. So it's only about having the hardware, and multiple instances also can be scaled out. So we have this flexibility. Like in Hadoop, how do we have distributed computing where you have multiple node architecture? Same in HANA, you can have multiple nodes contributing to one server bus. You can scale up to any level. Okay. Then secure data and systems, like say any other database, even HANA does give you the provisions for security, user authentication and authorization, because it's not that any user can just log in and then manipulate data. So it has defined rules for user authentication and authorizations. Only the users who has got the proper authorizations or authentication will be allowed to basically handle the data out. And apart from this, when the data is moving out and in into HANA, the data is encrypted so that it is not being disturbed during through when the data is going through the network bus. So that's the way HANA also provides you the security of data and the systems. So that was about database services. So when you look at HANA giving you as a database services, it gives you for it's a in-memory database, allows you for manipulating of database, columnar, in-memory, then it has got security features and all these features available as part of database services. So that is what HANA as database was. Now, HANA also has got something called integration features also. Now, when it's integration features about means integrating HANA with other applications first. When you see integration services, we are trying to understand about how HANA can be integrated with other applications. That's what it is. Now, first thing is we have a loading of data. So, as part of integration services, as part of HANA, we have a flexibility of uploading data from different sources through CSV or flat files. CSV is XLS or XLS files. So if you have data available in the CSV or Excel files, we can upload the data into HANA instead through integration services. That is one. Next, we have flexibility of data virtualization also in HANA. So when I say data virtualization, say imagine this scenario here. Let me just look at this. Let's say I have the HANA database, and say I have a SQL Server. Now got SQL Server database, and let's say this is HANA. So let's say my customer has got some Java application on top of it. Let's say this is some OLTP system. Let's say my customer has got a Java application which is actually putting all the data into data. Let's say so they have some application which is built on, let's say, Java, and which is inserting data into SQL DB or to MS SQL Server. Okay, or it could be a .NET application or SAP, anything. So let's say they are using this for all this trading or something, and they're putting all this data into this database. Now they would like to access this data in HANA. So one option is I can extract the data from this database and load into HANA. That is a different case. Other ways, I would like to have real time. So what I do is we have an option called Smart Data Access. We have an option called Smart Data Access through which I would remotely access this database. HANA will access this database remotely, and then the table in SQL Server will be consumed in HANA as a virtual table. Virtual table. That's not a physical table. So through Smart Data Access flexibility in HANA, you will connect this SQL Server database as a remote database, and then the tables in the SQL Server database will be using that as virtual table. And this virtual table again can further be used in modeling, like creating calculations and exposed for reporting or whatever it is. In that case, we are basically actually consuming the data in real time. So when it comes to loading, it will be a near real time. At least there will be a difference of 1 minute or 2 minutes. But when it comes to Smart Data Access, you are virtually accessing the data remotely from the database. That is what we call it as Smart Data Access. Okay. So when it comes to this, you'll have the table stored in SQL Server, but in HANA, you'll have the metadata of the table. Metadata of the table will be stored in HANA. When I say metadata, what name of the table, the column names, and their data types, all those information about the complete semantics of the table or complete metadata of the table will be in HANA. but data will be in SQL Server only. So when you try to run a query on this virtual table, it leverages metadata and then reads the data virtually from the SQL Server database and then gives you this. That is called a smart data access. Okay. So that is one of the integration services which we have it in HANA. Okay. Okay, that's what I was referring to, virtual tables and smart data. That is called data virtualization. Then accessing HANA database. And see, the first two cases we are looking at getting data into HANA bus, right? If you look at the third case, access SAP HANA database. So we have different database interfaces like JDBC or ODBC or SQL DBC or ADO.NET. Whenever, let's say, you have a situation like, say, you would like to leverage HANA database and build some application or build some software on top of it by using Python or by using .NET or by using Java, something, okay, anything. So then what you can do is, so when you developing an application using Python, there should be some interface through which you connect to the HANA database, right? In that case, you can leverage JDBC or ODBC or these interfaces, connectors, when you want to access consume data from HANA database. Apart from this, you can even look at your business objects. So let's say if business objects wants to connect to the HANA database and consume the tables, they can leverage this JDBC or ODBC. Okay. So like this, you can basically have interfaces through which HANA database can be exposed to those applications. This is what SAP HANA gives you as part of integration services, which we'll be seeing later. See, here I'm just making you understand what is there in HANA. Okay, that's it. Don't worry much. We'll go in each topic. We'll be getting into detail later. Now, we also have application services also. Now, so when it's I don't know how many of you heard about HANA native development or HANA application development. So what SAP HANA does is, apart from the database, so SAP HANA also comes with application services where it has got something called XS Engine. Now latestly, which is improvised as XSA, XS Advanced. Okay, till SP10, it was called as XS Engine Classic. But from SP11, we moved on to a concept called XSA Advanced bus. So where basically XSA Advanced is actually a runtime engine where you can leverage this for two things: develop applications and run and manage life cycle of the application. So when I say like this, let's say I have a situation like this bus. What SAP says is, you can have HANA database running on let's say you can have SAP BW running on HANA, or you can have any SAP applications like BW or SAP Business Suite, ECC, CRM, APO, anything. You can make it to run on HANA bus. Let's say we look at S4 HANA, which is nothing but your ECC application, which is more compatible on running on HANA. Now let us assume there is some functionality which business wants or which customer wants, but it is not available in S4 HANA. Then what they do is, we will try to use the ABAP, we'll try to use the ABAPers and develop a custom application within the ES4 HANA to build in more required features of the customer. Let's say for some reason you feel that you don't want to leverage the NetWeaver application or ABAP application, you would like to build your own custom applications by leveraging, let's say, JavaScript or Node.js or Java or C++, you want to build your own custom applications, then you get on to HANA native development. Until then, you will not have this requirement. You understand what I'm saying? So what I feel is, pretty much most of the SAP customers are using HANA. So when they're using HANA, let's say you'll have SAP BW running on top of HANA, or you'll have a customer scenario where you'll have SAP BW running on HANA or S4 HANA system running on HANA. In those cases, whenever they want to customize that application, they will leverage NetWeaver features, which is ABAP language, to customize their applications. Okay. And if there is a customer which does not have the NetWeaver and they would like to build their own custom application or custom software they want to build in, then they can leverage this XS Advanced, where they can basically build their own custom applications. That's where the concept of HANA native development comes in, where they go about developing their own custom applications by using HTML5, XSJS, JavaScripting, Node.js, or Java, C++, and then they build their own custom applications. So for this scenario, SAP HANA also gives you the application services where customers can develop or build their own custom applications. That's where they give application services. HANA has got this flexibility where you can develop, you can run the application because they give you an IDE. IDE is integrated development environment, or it's like a tool which has got all the flexibility where you can basically code and develop your applications. And HANA also has got its own access runtime. Runtime is it's a service or engine built in the HANA database. On this service, you can run those applications. And we can also manage those applications in the sense when you're writing the code, when multiple developers are doing, you need to have the repository where the code is stored, and there will be multiple users who will be checking in and checking out. So managing of the entire life cycle of the application, about testing, all this can be handled as part of this. So in SAP HANA, you have the extended services. Access nothing but extended services. From SP11, we have Access Advanced, which will basically allow you to develop your own custom applications. You can develop your applications, and since HANA has got its own runtime server or service in it, we can also run those applications. But this scenario would only come into picture in a scenario where the customers are not really happy with the existing applications running on it, and they don't want to leverage the network capabilities, and they want to leverage open source capabilities of Java, .NET, Node.js. Then you get into HANA native development, which is a bit rare. Okay, this is what this one on application services. Then we also have, in interest of time, I'm just running through just to cover all the topics. Next, we have a concept called dynamic tiering. So when it comes to dynamic tiering is actually big data solution of SAP HANA. You can understand this way. Dynamic tiering is actually a big data solution of SAP HANA. So when I say big data, you're going to hold huge amounts of data, right? You're going to store huge amounts of data. But when it comes to SAP HANA, you're storing data in what? In main memory bus. Main memory means RAM. So when you want to build the big data with HANA, okay, you're going to have huge amounts of RAMs, which is going to be very costly for you. So what SAP does is, so what they're saying is, you can have your SAP HANA with extended storage. You can build your HANA with extended storage. So if you look at this picture here, the gray one here, which is hot store, is nothing but your main memory, default memory, which is your main memory, which is your RAM. Now, when you look at this warm store, which is nothing but your external storage bus, which is your disk, which is your disk. Disk in the sense hard disk bus. Hard store would be your main memory, and warm store would be your hard disk bus. Okay. So what you can do is, when you have HANA database, if you install dynamic tiering software in HANA server, you can basically have this flexibility of building a big data solution by having extended storage. In the sense, I will show you it here more clearly. So what it's like, say, I'll have the HANA database. So it will have its own, let's say, it will have its main memory here. Okay. Then what I will do is I also going to have extended storage, which is disk. This is disk. Okay. This is only a concept, disk. Okay. This is memory bus. Okay. So this is your HANA. So I have HANA database. Generally, you will not have this out. So you have HANA database with main memory bus. Then what it does is, so when you want to store data in main memory, and when you want to build a big data solution, and this is not available for you, means like, say, you need to have huge amounts of memory, and then you want to have very big memory, which is very costly. What they do is, you take a disk and you configure this as external storage bus, or not external, extended storage. You take a disk space and you configure this as extended storage for your HANA database. So this will be called as warm, and your main memory, default memory, will be called as hot bus. So now you should understand what is hot, which is main memory. What is warm is nothing but your extended storage bus. Okay. Now, when you have this flexibility, now when you log into HANA database, I have two first flexibility is you can create a table. While creating a table, straight away you have a flexibility where you say, I want to create this table in extended storage. Straight away what happens? Let's say I say create table. I say something like this, create table A, and all those, I give all the syntax and say using extended, I'll say storage. Then this table A is created here. In the disk, table A is created in this storage. But you'll still see this table metadata here. When you say we can write selects, so you can do inserts, updates, all those on the table. But internally the table A database space will be stored in extended storage like this. That is one option. Another option is we have something called multi. So you heard about row store, column store. Row store is like where it stores data in form of row by row. And when you say column store, it stores data in form of column wise, columnar storage bus. We also have concept called multi-store bus. We also have we also have a table of concept called multi-store table also. So when you say multi-store table, I'll have a single table A. Let's say now this time I'll go with table B. I create table B. Now I would like to store this table B in both in memory and extend also. Means I would like to store, let's say table B has got 100 records. I would like to store 25 records in memory, in the main memory, default memory, and remaining 75 records in external storage. That's why we call it as multi-store table bus. We can achieve this by creating partitions. Let's say, I just gave it as round figure 25, 70, but I can say like this. I can create a partition. I will say, let's say my table has got something like year column. Okay. So assume there are 75 records with where year value is, let's say 2018, and assume there are 25 records in this table where the year value is 2017. So what I can do, I'll say now on this, I'll create a table B normally. Let's say create table with those so and so columns, and then I'll create a partitions, like you'll have table partitioning. I'll create a partitions on this column year, where I'll say partition where year is equal to 2018 in this main memory, and the partition where year is equal to 2017 in external storage. Then what happens? You'll have a single table B. All the records which belong to the year is stored in main memory, and all the records which belong to the year 2017 will be stored in the external storage. Like this, we can basically have a single table where the rows of this table are split into multiple storages like this. That is called as dynamic. But when you try to run a query on this table B, user will never understand whether it is coming from the external storage or from the main memory. You will just get it as normal select. You can do inserts, update, delete, select, anything on the tables. It's like a normal table for you in HANA bus. So this is actually a big data solution for, so dynamic, by using dynamic tiering, you can implement big data solutions by using HANA bus. See, look at this. When you say create table using external storage, then straight away the table is created here. Look at this here. Look at the extended table. Straight away the table itself is stored in the extended storage. But when it comes to multi-store table is stored in hot as well as warm. So you'll have a single table where some records of the table are stored in hot and some records of the table are stored in warm bus. That is called multi-store table. And you can achieve this big data solution by implementing dynamic tiering bus. Implementing in the sense you have to install some software. So SAP does give you some dynamic tiering software, and you need to manage and configure that software. Then you will be eligible to handle this, manage this extended storage bus. Okay. Then we have some concept. Then we have a flexible feature of, in HANA. We also have feature of series data. When I say series data, like say equidistant table information. Very simple concept, but say now when I say equidistance, like say you have some time information, or let's say, so I have data like this. Say reading from mission, time, say reading. Let's say let us just assume I have some IoT. Let's say I have a mission, some physical mission bus. Okay, some refrigerator, or let's say we take it as a fridge. Okay. And let's say I have some IoT device which basically reads the temperature at my fridge, okay, or let's say some factory machine or IoT device which reads the temperature of the machine and gives me information like this for this fridge, and say the time is 2000. Was mute. I say 2018 and say this 03 on 04, and the time is, let's say, 7 o'clock, and say, let's say it gives me the temperature is 30 degrees, okay, and same way, let's say it gives me information like this, and I'll say times, it gives me information on it. It gives machine reading for every minute was 7:1, and I'll say 7:2. Every minute it gives me like this, something around 31, 27. Hmm. So let's say now from IoT device I get the information like this. Okay. So this kind of data is what we call it a series data. So when you have some data maintained with specific to equal time distance, say if you get information about for every minute or every second or every hour or every minute or every second or every hour or every 2 hours, every 3 hours, when you have information or when you have data specific to equidistant information like this, we call that a series database. So SAP HANA has given you flexibility of handling this kind of series information in a different manner. We'll see how it is. That is called a series database. So HANA has got this flexibility of series database. Then accelerator for ASC. Now, generally, whenever you think about implementing a warehouse, you can think about HANA or you think about BW, right? Apart from this, SAP gives you other solutions for small scale companies or data warehousing implementation. So there is something called Edge series where you can use there is other databases from SAP as Sybase IQ. You heard about, or there is something called Sybase ASC, Adaptive Enterprise Server. Okay. So what SAP says is, let's say if there is some existing customer who is using SAP ASC and they are implementing a warehousing and they are doing reporting on top of that, and if they are facing some performance issues, then we can leverage SAP HANA as an accelerator to speed up the reporting on the database ASC. If you remember, in the olden days when we had BW, we had something called BWA, BW Accelerator, which was speeding up the reporting performance on BW. Okay, same way, what happens is when you do, let's say there is an SAP database called AAC, Adaptive Enterprise Server. If there is a scenario where you're doing reporting on that and the performance is really slow, you can leverage HANA to speed up the reporting performance on the database, SAP Sybase ASC. That is what another flexibility what HANA gives you. Then there is something called Data Warehousing Foundation, which is new now, which is a new part of HANA 2, HANA version 2. How I don't know how many of you are familiar with BW, but in BW you heard about advanced DSO. Yeah, you heard about advanced DSO, right? In a similar way, normally if you look at BW, what you do, you extract data from different source, you build some transformations, and you load into a DSO, right? Or a advanced DSO, and then do reporting on top of it. Yeah. So same way, what SAP has done is, let's say, for customers who does not have BW, let's say if there's a customer who only has a HANA database or HANA system with him, HANA server, they have given some data warehousing foundation which helps you create something called native DSO, which helps you something called native DSO, which is a data warehousing offering from SAP HANA, which is similar to your BW or HANA or BW. So similar to the capabilities what we have in BW, within native HANA or within normal native HANA server, we have flexibility of implementing data warehousing concept by creating something called native DSO bus, which is similar to your advanced DSO in BW, and we call that as native DSO in HANA bus. NLS is different. NLS is different from this data warehousing foundation. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. Then we also have flexibility of geospatial and graph database. Like other databases, HANA also supports geospatial and graph database. When I say geospatial, you have data about like latitude, longitude, about points. Like say in a map, you would like to have a point with lat and lang, and then you would go with polygons, geometric, and geo maps. So when you want to process and store and retrieve this kind of geospatial data, and SAP HANA supports it for you. And then SAP HANA also supports graph database. Now when you say graph, say it's like this. I think geospatial you should understand about lat and lang. But when you say graph, you have it like this. Say relational database, relational networking, network analysis. Okay. And how many of you heard about this? Let's say I have, say I take it like this. I want to build a data structure like this. Okay. So we do this kind of network analysis. I'm just taking an example. Let's say I take person A. Okay, and I would like to see whether this person is a director of how many companies. This could be many, right? Like each one is like one vertices or node, and then you'll have a linking from here to here. Like I don't know how many of you know like C with data structure like linked list. Okay, so let's say he is basically director of company A, and let's say he's director of company B, and he's director of company C. Now further for this company A, I would like to see who all are the directors. Again. So for one company, you can have multiple directors. Let's say I have D1, I have D2, I have D3, and I have D4. And and again, so A will have D1, and D2, D3, D4. And it's also possible that D2 is also a director of company B, and it is also possible that D3 is a director of company C. So you can have any kind of linking like this. So each node we call it as vertices or vertex or vertices, and this vertices linked like this as a network. Okay, we call that as graph data. This is called as graph data. Okay, so SAP HANA also gives you the flexibility to model or to store or to process this kind of data on the HANA database. We call that as graph database. Okay, don't worry on how to do it, but we also have that flexibility. Don't worry. Hmm. Then data privacy, we already seen as part of database services, HANA gives you the flexibility of security, basically where we can have authentication and user access control. But apart from that, there's also more concept called data privacy, where we also can do data masking. There might be some information which is very sensitive and confidential, and you can do masking. Okay, so SAP HANA also has got a feature of doing data masking also. Next is data masking is like more like encryption, or you don't see that. Like for example, when you type in the password, you get to see asterisks, right? So that is like masking. So that kind of masking is also available within HANA as part of data privacy. Yeah. Uh, Generally, when you type in any of the password, you don't get to see, right? You get to see the dots or you get to see asterisks. That is what masking out. Okay. But we have that same flexibility in HANA also. Then we have something called search and text analysis and text mining, which is nothing but text analytics. So SAP HANA, within SAP HANA, you also have a service as text analytics, which gives you the flexibility of processing your unstructured data. Let's say I would like to take data from social media, I would like to take from news channels or all this, and then do text mining in it, and then get analytics out of it. That kind of flexibility we have as part of HANA also, handling text data. Then next is predictive analytics with R. So what SAP HANA does is As part of SAP HANA server, we also have flexibility where we also have a service on predictive analytics with R integrations. So SAP HANA comes with AFL, which is Application Function Library, which library means ready-made functions or ready-made procedures. So it also has got something called PFL, Predictive Analytics Library, or Predictive Function Library, which has got ready-made functions or ready-made procedures for majority of the predictive algorithms. So you can leverage those ready-made algorithms, which is already written as part of HANA, and then run those. If you're not, apart from those predictive analytics library, which is given as part of HANA, what we can do is we can also have R integrations, because R is another language or another engine, another language which can be really strong in case of when you want to perform some statistical functions or linear regressions or backward regression, forward regressions, neural network. So there are a lot of machine learning statistical functions can be performed with R. So when you want to integrate, and HANA also has got a flexibility of integrating HANA database with R. When it's integration, I can have a stored procedure in HANA which will call an algorithm in R language by calling them to vertices like that. Okay, that's the flexibility in HANA. So don't worry on all this. I'm just helping you to understand what is there in HANA. Okay. Next, we have also a flexibility of streaming analytics also. Let's say if you have an IoT devices, so as part of SAP HANA, we also have streaming engine, which can basically take the streaming data from different IoT devices and combine the streaming data with historical data and then calculate the patterns and understand, and it also helps you to do analytics on top of this streaming data also. Yeah. Then we have a feature of HANA has got a feature of EIM, Enterprise Information Management. When I say EIM, is actually a concept of BODS, which is an ETL tool. So what SAP has done is now SAP HANA, native SAP HANA gives you the flexibility of EIM with the help of smart data integration, smart data quality. Like in BODS, how we can build your data flows and perform your ETL operations. Even in HANA, I can basically build. I can also build data flows and perform the ETL activities like any other ETL tool like Informatica or BODs. HANA has got the flexibility through smart data integration and smart data quality, which we'll see. Next, we also have HANA replication. I think you already heard about SLT or something, right? Good. SAP also gives you flexibility of integration with replication servers with SLT or SAP replication server. So by leveraging SLT server, we can replicate data into real time from different applications into HANA base. Let's say we'll see that later, but for just now, just to get the feel of, see, you'll have HANA database. You'll have the HANA database. You'll have the SLT server, and then you'll have some source applications. So this will be your source applications. So this will be your SLT server, and this will be HANA database. So by leveraging this SLT server, I can extract the data from the source applications into HANA database like an ETL tool, but with real-time replication. Means as and when there is a data in this table, it will be replicated. Means for example, let's say in some source, I have table A, let's say with some 10 records here. Now through SLT, when you replicate, first you will get all the table A here with all the 10 records. Okay, it will be replicated. Then from every time, so then what happens, for table it creates some triggers automatically, and whenever I insert trigger, let's say I insert one record A, through trigger on this table, it auto triggers this SLT mechanism and then brings that one record into B. Like this, you can perform real-time replication of data from the sources to HANA through using SLT. So we'll see how that is done later, but now that is what SLT is about. Okay. So after understanding these features, so you don't have to worry so much on all this. Okay, that I have just gone through about all this because I want you to know what is available in HANA. At least you should know the things. Okay, but in the real time, you will not be using much of this. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover what is being used. Okay, I'll be covering the database services. I'll be covering the integration services. Now, when I say database services, about all the database modeling and all those. Integration service about smart data access and importing and loading, and then dynamic tiering, series data will cover. Then EIM, enterprise information map with data, smart data quality and integration, then real-time replication of data. This is what we're trying to cover as part of this course. So in more detail, I have just given it here. I don't know whether you got this or not. So we're just trying to understand what this is the course content I'm just going through. What is the HANA? Then we get into HANA Studio. Then we get into database concepts. Then we get into SQL. Then we get into stored procedures. Then we get into HANA modeling. Okay, with our attribute view, analytical view, and with all the extensive features into it. Then analytical privileges, decision tables. Then we'll see how do we do reporting with business objects on top of HANA. Then we'll see data processing techniques, just overview on how this is just overview. How BODS can be leveraged. I'm not teaching BODS here. I'm just helping you to understand how BODS can be leveraged as an ETL tool to insert data into HANA. That's it. We'll go in depth about SLT, DXC, then platform imports and smart data access and others. So that's what I was telling about EIM, enterprise information management, and this will be covered as part of completely in detail. Then we'll get on to exporting means transporting of objects in HANA. Then we'll get on to BW for HANA means let's say BW application running on top of HANA. Then we'll get on to S4 HANA, which is nothing but embedded analytics, where you'll have S4 HANA system running on top of HANA bus. Means nothing but your business suite running on top of HANA. So this is what we'll be covering as part of this course. And I will not be giving any system access. So for system access, you'll have to get in touch. I'll tell you. For system access, you can get in touch with the person called Vasu. I'm just giving his number once. So, this is number 9700 and his name is Vasu. For system access, you can contact him. You will give the system. Basically, when you take the system access, you'll be given a mail something like this. Yeah, you'll be given a mail like this. You'll get a mail like this with this system IP address and the user ID and password. Then you start leveraging this. Then you just basically use this remote desktop and then you connect this. That's it. And you just connect to the desktop and then you start working on it. You get the remote system and then you give that same IP address and the port what it gives in user ID password. You start getting it. Now once you get this, you'll on the desktop you'll have a file called HANA details, which will have all the user ID password for different applications already available, and then we'll start working on this system. Yeah, that is one. Or system access. I think and then basically I just wanted to run through this, but it's already time. I just wanted to make you understand about this. Once you know what is HANA and what are the features it has got, I just want to make you understand how it can be leveraged, or how in what are the different use cases for SAP HANA, where SAP HANA will be leveraged. Okay. One is we can leverage SAP HANA as data mart. When I say data mart, you will basically install HANA as a centralized database like this, and you extract data from different applications, whether it is SAP or non-SAP through BODS or SLT or smart data access or smart data quality integration, and put the data into HANA database. And on top of it, you do BO reporting or reporting with some third party. This is the scenario which we call it as HANA as data warehousing or HANA data markets, okay, or enterprise warehousing. Then we can also have scenario where HANA is database, means you can have any of this OLTP or OLAP application sitting on top of HANA also. Let's say how we can have BW application on HANA or ECC application on HANA, nothing but now latestly we have BW for HANA or S4 HANA. Okay. And this is still not available. ECC, BW still on HANA is still not available. Like accelerator, I was telling you HANA can be leveraged. Just now I was telling you, let's say if you have some data warehousing implementation where on Sybase ASC, and if you have performance issues, I said we can use HANA as accelerator. Same way, let's say you have any application running on non-HANA DB and you face some performance issues, I can install a HANA database and push the required data and then do reporting on top of it, which can reduce your problem of performance and can act as HANA can acting as accelerator also. So apart from this, you can also have have HANA on cloud, okay, or you can have HANA on premises. You can install HANA in cloud, or you can also install HANA on premises also. Plus, you can also have looked at mixed approach. When I say mixed approach, this is like this. Say I have a BW system running on top of HANA. So now HANA is leveraged as a backend database for BW. At the same time, this HANA database can itself be used as a data mart also. So that is called as hybrid. So you'll have BW system, you'll have HANA system on the backend. So you'll be leveraging BW flexibilities and you'll also be leveraging HANA flexibilities together. We call that as hybrid model, which is called mixed approach. And apart from this, I told you SAP HANA comes with XS Classic or XS Advanced now, extended services, where you can basically develop and run your own custom applications developed with .NET, developed with Node.js or XSJS or C++ or Java. You can develop your own custom applications. This would be very rare scenario because if there is some customer who is not happy with ready-made applications, then you would go developing your own applications first. Okay. So this is what I wanted to touch on. So now you understand what is HANA and where it can be leveraged first. I know I was a bit fast because of the time. So now you can post me what was it? Now you can post me the questions first if you want. How does this also come with the web for HANA? Okay. I'm just going questions from first. Okay. There's a question on SLT, SDA, performance wise, which one is good, sir? We cannot compare both of them because SLT is different, SDA is different. Because SLT is a real-time replication server which is based on the trigger based. When you say smart data access, it is virtual. So in case of SLT, you're physically bringing data into your HANA database and then accessing it. In case of smart data access, you're virtually accessing the data. You only have metadata, you only have information of the table and the column names and the description or information, and then you virtually access the table from the source. So obviously, when you are accessing data which is within HANA, would be much faster when it compared to when you're accessing virtually. So obviously, the table which is replicated with SLT into HANA is physically stored in HANA, so it is much faster. But when it comes to smart data access, where you're accessing virtually from the source, it depends on the performance of the source database also. Okay. So what is difference between smart data access and smart data integration? Good. Smart data access is one of the integration services provided through which you basically remotely access the database. Okay. And then consume the table of the database as a virtual table and then consume it in the modeling. When it comes to smart data integration and smart data quality, I don't know how many of you know like BODS. Like BODS has got data services quality and integrations. Means as part of smart data quality and smart data integration comes as part of EIM capability of HANA. EIM means Enterprise Information Management, which is a concept of ETL. So within HANA native, we have a concept of ETL flexibilities like transformations and all those stuff, where you can build your data flows and then process your data like like your ETL tools and then do that. Okay. So smart data access will only access the data virtually, but whereas smart data integration or smart data quality will physically read the data from the source and process the data through the different set of transformation, like same what we had in BODS, like history preserving all those, and then gets the data into HANA. Okay. Smart data is only virtual access, and smart data integration quality is like physically you're building data flows and extracting the data. How did this also cover ABAP for HANA? Good. when it comes to ABAP for HANA, you don't have much things to be done, but only major improvement here is we have something called ABAP CDS views. We have something called ABAP CDS views, and how do we expose it as OData service and integrate it to Fiori bus? This is what we're going to cover it here. As part of embedded analytics, we're going to cover how do I create my CDS, ABAP CDS views. Don't get confused here. There are two things: HANA CDS and ABAP CDS. Suppose if I have S4 HANA system, how do I create my ABAP CDS views, which creates my database view in application ABAP layer, and how that can be consumed in ABAP programming, or how that can be exposed as a OData services and integrated to Fiori views. Okay, that is the only thing which ABAP has to look at. That's it as of now. And HANA modeling bus, nothing else. Are you going to provide daily class video access? Yeah, you will have access to every video of every class bus. No problem. If you want to upgrade your 7.4 BW HANA system to BW4 HANA, do you need to upgrade to? Yes, because BW for HANA, see there's something BW on HANA and BW for HANA. BW on HANA starts from Network Stack 7.4. From Network 7.5 only, we have the flexibility of BW for HANA, only from 7.5. Yes. So what is the major difference between HANA Cloud and normal cloud? See, that's about your infrastructure. When you say HANA in premises, means what? You buy your own hardware, you buy your complete setup and install HANA in your on the system, and then you have it in your premises first. That is HANA in premises. So when you say HANA on cloud, so you don't have anything. You basically leverage the infrastructure of Google Cloud or Amazon, and then you deploy your HANA server there, and you start using it. So when it is cloud, it is very easy for extending it. When you want to scale up, it is very easy. But if it is in premises, for scaling up, you have to switch the server down, then buy new hardware, then integrate it. It's very complex. But that is it. But when it comes to functionality or services or the capabilities, it will be one and the same whether it is cloud or it is in premises. It's only difference in the infrastructure. When you say in premises, you buy your own hardware, you buy your computer, you buy the entire switchboard, RAMs, everything, and you set up your own hardware and complete the HANA box. If it is cloud, you basically leverage the infrastructure of Amazon or any cloud services, and then you set up your infrastructure there. That is cloud. But so if it is cloud, it is easy to scale up or scale down. But if it is in premises, it is very tough to scale up or scale. Scale means increasing the size of this hardware capabilities. How many days duration? Duration will be 40 max 45 bus. Confirm. Then I don't have any knowledge in BW. Is it still okay to grab the contents? Yeah, because see what I'm saying. If you don't know BW, you'll be good till here. You may not need this topic of BW HANA, but rest all is required. Okay. If you're not from BW background, you may not need this BW for HANA, but rest all would be same what you have to learn. Okay. Are you going to cover ABAP on HANA? That's what, as part of ABAP CDS views, we will see ABAP perspective, how we can basically leverage this. And also as part of, we'll also see how do we create classes and write the code from modeling HANA Studio itself. We'll be covering what is required as part of ABAP on HANA. Okay. What are the classes timing? Yeah, preferably I'm looking at morning 7 to 8. And basically you people discuss with Pawan, and I hope you all are fine with the timing, right? The 7 to 8, is it fine? I'm unmuting. Just respond if there's any person who is not okay with 7 to 8. How many of you are not okay with 7 to 8?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I'm in Singapore time zone. It'll be a little tough for me to get because it will be my office timing.
So you want more early or but this
more early will be preferable, or later in the evening also it's fine for me.
More early is okay. I think if more early I can do 6 to 7 also I can do. That is also fine.
Yes, 6 to 7 would be absolutely fine with me, sir.
Fine, then we'll continue with 6 to 7 in the morning because it is only online, so you can be at home and then listen to it. We'll make it 6 to 7. Okay, that is fine then.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Fine. Okay. Then BW for HANA has a different UI. Will you teach us as part of? Yeah. See, BW for HANA is complete Eclipse based. We'll be getting into that. You don't have to see if you see this. I'll be getting into that. So if I say I teach the topic, I will take it to the extreme. You don't have to worry on whether I teach that or not. We will be using the complete new UI for BW for HANA. Okay. What is native HANA? Native HANA is nothing but normal HANA. Just the core HANA with all these features, all these functionalities of EIM and all this, we call it as HANA, native HANA. Okay. I won't attend only SAP embedded. Yeah. Hemant, you just talk to Pawan, okay? I think you have this contact number, right, Pawan? For any clarifications or any doubts or you want to attend some classes, just talk to Pawan. 84656. Any clarification, just talk to him, okay? 9853 84656. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
sir.
okay. Can I join like Hemant? Okay. SAP Bureau, can it really be the next generation which can support storage and reporting structured and semi-structured? Yeah, SAP BW for HANA will be the next EDWS because it comes with hybrid capabilities. Means you will leverage the HANA flexibilities and with BW development tools together. We integrate it as hybrid model, and that's going to be the next generation. Yes. Also, what all add-ons does SAP BW HANA supports compared to BW BPC? I think this is what you pretty much named. The add-ons, it's up. See, BPC, IP, and POSDM. That's it. What is the difference between BW HANA and 7.5? See, when I say 7.5, it's actually it's the ABAP NetWeaver version. So all your SAP applications are based on ABAP. So what version of ABAP stack are you using? Now for BW for HANA and S4 HANA, we use ABAP stack of 7.5. NetWeaver ABAP stack 7.5. So BW HANA is application based on ABAP stack of 7.5. Okay. So are you going to cover BW on HANA topics? Like yes, that will include everything in BW on HANA, ODP, ODQ, everything will be covered. Can we use the ECC tables in SAP HANA and BW for HANA? Yes, we can use. See, two things. If you're on S4 HANA, when you log into the HANA database of S4, you'll basically have those tables already. But if it is BW HANA, you'll not have this. You'll have to replicate, or you have to load, or you have to use some data processing techniques to get those data into it and use that. Okay. What is difference between BW for? I answered this question. Sir, is course good for freshers? See, it's not about whether it's fresher or experienced. But if you're being logical, you should be able to take it. Okay. If you have to be logical enough to get this out, that's it. What is this question? Regarding parallel processing, if you have 4 cores in CPU, we have executed statement and executed statement to read only to column it will be part of 2%, 4%. See how many cores whenever you perform certain database operations, how many cores it has to leverage depends on the system process of system resources which has been available. You don't have to really worry on um, how many it has to use, what it should not use. Okay, you don't have to worry on this. It's all system mechanisms. Difference between enterprise HANA and native HANA, where we go for that, sir. But that's what I was telling you. Don't see these are different terminologies. Okay, as part of SAP, they only use three vocabularies: standard edition, enterprise edition, and express edition. When you say native HANA, means you're just using only HANA. You're not deploying any application like BW or S4 SAP application on top of it. So native HANA is just HANA bus. Okay, when you say BW for HANA or BW HANA, it's like BW application sitting on HANA. Now, when you say S4 HANA or ECC HANA, it means like SAP application sitting on top of HANA. If you're just using just core HANA without having any application sitting on top of it, we call it as native HANA. Okay. Also, yeah, we're going to cover S4 HANA extraction, CDS modeling. Yes, we're going to cover ABAP CDS views. Okay, and extraction through ABAP CDS views also we're going to cover. Yes. What is difference between BW on HANA and BW for HANA? That is what we'll see in the course. Okay. Sir, what are basics required to learn this course? If you are really having will, see, for an entire course is all fine if you're really being logical. But when it comes to BW HANA, it's better you should have BW knowledge. So otherwise, it does not. Because when it comes to the real-time scenarios, it's not always BW on HANA. There will be native HANA. So in case of native HANA, knowledge on HANA is important. You don't need BW in that case. So for those kind of jobs, you would be more suitable where you don't have BW knowledge. So when you don't have BW knowledge, you'll not be able to understand BW for HANA concepts because that is majorly on BW specific. So you'll be only eligible for jobs where they want only on the native HANA modeling and native HANA, only on HANA system. When you want to work on HANA system only, you will be eligible. So, okay. What difference between SAP HANA and S4 HANA can you explain? See, whatever I just explained about all the standard edition, enterprise edition, that is HANA bus. S4 HANA is nothing but, uh, do you know about ECC application? Because SAP has got a lot of products like SAP BW, SAP R3 or ECC, R3, ECC. Yeah, oldly we used to call it as R3 or now ECC. Now, improvised version of ECC more. What it has done is they have made it more ECC application more compatible towards HANA, and they made it as S4 HANA. It's different release like 15.10 and 16.10. Now, latestly we also have 17.10. Yeah? That is S4 HANA. Yes, fine and fine. Make it 8 to 9. 8 to 9, I think it's very tough because everyone goes to the office. So 7 to 8, fine. Bit early is good. Yeah. So that's what, because he is missing out. So what we'll do is we'll try to make it 6 to 7. That should be fine. Okay. 60 is more preferable. Okay. Fine. Anything else? 6 to 9, 6 to 9. See, in the weekdays we'll try to make it 6 to 7. 7 to 8 will be good. 7 to 8 will be good. I understand. So let's make uh, or we'll make it to 6:30 to 7:30 bus. That is better. So మీది కాదు వాళ్ళది కాదు మధ్యలో we'll make it at 6:30 to 7:30. Are you covering reporting on predictive analytics on? See, reporting on predictive analytics on HANA does not make any sense actually. Predictive analytics as it is, we're not covering because that's a different mindset for it. So only the people from data science background or more algorithmists like who deal with the machine learning algorithm, they get into predictive analytics. We are not dealing with predictive analytics here. How the market for HANA now? Why there are keep changing the tool name S4 HANA D4 HANA? Market is okay. It's not so good. It's not so bad. It's okay. Okay. And why they're changing names means whenever they come out with a new version or new product, they need to have some name. That's it. నా పేరు ప్రతాప్ ఎందుకు పెట్టారంటే అంతే ఏమనేది. Smart data access, does it not require license? It read third part. Yeah. See, if you that's what. See, there are different licensing every time. It keeps changing, Naren. But if you look at as part of 2018 Feb release, you only have this licensing of standard edition or enterprise edition. So once you go with enterprise edition, you don't need any extra licensing. Or if you see, when you said about smart data access, right? Smart data access comes with integration services. So integration service is part of standard edition. Once I take the SAP and a platform standard edition, I don't need any other licensing for it. Please mute. Okay. That's fine. Sir, I'm Suresh from 2010 batch. I have a question. Do you cover ABAP on HANA also? Yes. ABAP HANA, that's what I was telling. Yes, we'll be covering as part of ABAP CDS views and how do we write the code, ABAP code with Eclipse, and then how to integrate that as ABAP CDS views as OData services and expose it to peer users. In future, what is role we will play as a HANA consultant? Support development can be one person. See, it's vast. Okay, basically, I'm projecting myself as analytics on HANA. I would not say entire HANA. I would say analytics on HANA, where I would say I deal with HANA database, and I deal with the BW on HANA and S4 HANA with embedded analytics. That's what I would claim myself as. Yeah? Please make it 7 to 8. Uh, but person from Singapore, are you okay with 6:30 to 7:30 Indian timing? Is that fine?
Yes, sir. It should be fine.
6:30 to 7:30 is fine.
I can manage, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah. So then let's have it at 6:30 to 7:30. He was waiting for many days for me. Where we'll be getting SAP HANA books from Cubics, and the course will be based on 7.5 version. Course will be based on 7.5 version. There's no books and all. Every every class will be recorded and will be shared with you. And what is different above CDS and that's a different big topic. See, above CDS is like um, you basically create this view with OpenSQL standards and some semantic notations in HANA, but it is at the runtime of the runtime view is available in the ABAP layer. But HANA CDS views is just like a is mainly used in HANA native development to design your databases. Okay, that is created in HANA and then available in HANA only. But when it comes to ABAP CDS views, you create in HANA, but the runtime views are available in ABAP layer, okay, consumed in ABAP layer. We have 2.0 SPS2, which is new, and BW for HANA is in version 1. We have BW for HANA will be based on 2. We are dealing with SP HANA, SPS2 bus, okay. HANA 2 and SPS2. Please make it 7 to 8. 6:30 to 7:30 is fine, no? Because he was waiting for me for many days, boss. Will you discuss intro question? See, once you are perfect with everything, I thought I can just give you some questions what they ask you. But sir, ABAP knowledge is required to learn HANA. No, ABAP knowledge is not required. Sir, I joined bit late for the demo. What is the course fees? Course fees is I think you basically talk to Pawan. Okay, I gave you Pawan number. Just talk to Pawan. Okay. Can you please provide access? Can you please provide access to demo video? Yes, we'll provide access for anything for video access or course content. Anything, please contact Pawan. Yeah, 6:30 to 7:30 would you give access to? Yeah, videos you'll get access. Getting an easy early to class is better than going late to office. Okay. What is the difference between calculation view and CDS views? Calculation view is a view what you create in HANA and exists within HANA only. So that is HANA specific. And ABAP CDS, when you say CDS again, you should be careful on specifying ABAP CDS view. ABAP CDS views is with OpenSQL built in HANA, but available in ABAP application layers. So if you're working on native HANA, you will not have a concept of ABAP CDS views. But when you're working on S4 HANA or BW HANA, you'll have, if you're working only on native HANA, you have to deal with normal HANA modeling views, attribute view, analytical view calculations. But when you're working with S4 HANA or BW for HANA, you'll have both the flexibilities, ABAP CDS views, or you can also work with HANA views also. Read intensive property will be inbuilt only once you make yes, it will be inbuilt, but it needs a special licensing. When you want to have whenever you want to use the mirror system or replicated system for the read intensive operations, we need to go with special licensing. What are you going to start? Yeah, see, the course will be starting from tomorrow itself, boss. Okay, this is just demo, and tomorrow will be normal. We'll be getting into normal sessions. I'm aware basically, but this course I want to focus on BW HANA developers. Is it possible with this training? If you want to convert it to BW, better you should have BW knowledge, because without BW, if you want to learn explicitly BW on HANA, without BW knowledge, it's not possible. Yeah? It's not possible without BW knowledge. Boss. How many days we require to complete this course? 45 days. I think pretty much I answered all the questions. Thank you, boss. For any doubts, you just contact Pawan, and thank you. And we'll meet tomorrow. And the regular classes will start from tomorrow itself. Okay. Thank you.